12 wins, 8 inside the distance, only 2 defeats, 1 draw. He is the reigning WBO Asia Pacific Heavyweight Champion from Brixton, London, Ian Lewison. In the blue corner, wearing green with gold and white trim. On the scales, 18 stone 1 pound. From 19 contests, 18 wins, 14 inside the distance with only 1 defeat. He is the reigning WBC International Heavyweight Champion. From Brixton, London, the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte.
Leave it with me, aye. Yeah, mate. I'll leave it, Bill. Here we go, lads. I spoke to you in the dressing room and what I expect. Shake hands, best of luck. God bless you. Here we go. Shake hands. Here we go.
Talking done now. Just about almost 40 stone of heavyweight strength and power about to collide. Former sparring partners are now real rivals. Dillian Whyte and Ian Lewison. They take their South London roots many miles north to compete in this, the first British heavyweight championship fight ever to take place in Scotland. It could be explosive. Will Lewison take charge of the fight early with his heavy artillery? Because the longer this rumbles on, the younger and more complete-looking Whyte. Well, you've got to fancy him, Paul.
Yeah, you've just heard Ian Lewison as the referee was giving us instructions. Talking's done now, just me and you. He's still pulling them apart just before the bell goes.
Lewison's never gone past. That was gone past that 5 rounds once, and that was in his debut. That was in 2009. So yes, the further this fight goes down the line, he says his own downfall is his fitness. I hope he's taking this serious.
Jab from Whyte early to the body. The big body of Lewison, he's coming at 19-7. Trainer Don Charles says he is what he is, and he can really whack. They've had 5 weeks' notice. Is that enough? Big, solid jab. Whyte's got to be careful early of these big swings. And here comes Lewison, applying the pressure.
That's my worry, Alan, because Whyte knows he's probably played top dog in the gym. If he's complacent here, that's where you slip up, that's where you make a big mistake, and he'll be so frustrated. We've seen it happen before with the Gale and Groves, so he needs to make sure he's on form.
He flicks out the jab as well. He was a good amateur, Lewison. It's all just been stop-start, erratic. He's had other businesses outside of the sport. No one's really known if he's taken it seriously at all, but on his day, you never know. Good body shot from Whyte.
It's heavyweight boxing, it's 2 familiar fighters. Dillian Whyte likes a fight. He likes being in there, he likes being in the pocket, he likes blocking shots, taking shots on the gloves and elbows, countering a few, but you don't want to be taking shots off a fella 19 stone 7 who's a known puncher. You know, he knows you as well because he sparred you before. You need to be smart tonight.
We saw him earlier on as well, just catch Whyte with a couple of nice right-hand curlers. He twisted like a right hand right through the guard of Whyte, an uppercut, and I thought, if you can't let him get away with too many shots like that.
Hands down from Lewison, beckoning Whyte to come in with that jab, and he's just looking for a huge haymaker. One massive right hand, maybe, and there's one that just squeezes through inside the last minute of the first.
Lewison walking forward with the hands down, that shows he's got the timing of Whyte. He feels confident enough to be able to slip the shots, be fast enough to dodge the shots and set Whyte up.
But these swings, Paul, are expending a lot of energy too.
They are, and it could also be considered smart from Dillian Whyte, allowing Lewison to punch himself out, allowing him to land a few on the gloves and elbows, knowing that he's going to keep putting the power in and expending a lot of energy.
Looking for the uppercut, Whyte on the inside. Clever, but Lewison didn't fall for it. Right to the body from Ian Lewison. This is the opportunity. Can he take it? Just a bit more cultured from Whyte. Keeping tight. Early impressions. Interesting.
We saw him popping some nice, sweet, slick jabs there, and he was getting away with the shot. But he was too happy to get involved with Lewison, and that's when Lewison got comfortable, got the points, and got close and got some success.
Too much Vaseline on the face of Ian Lewison. Don Charles gets to work Lewison in this black skirt-like object that you used to wear something along those lines.
Where in Scotland, my friend, it's a kilt.
It's a kilt. It's a kilt.
I was just having a go at you, Johnny, for what you used to wear.
Nothing wrong with a skirt, my friend.
You didn't wear a kilt. Lewison certainly trying to get the Scottish fans on side, but he's a Brixton boy, as is Dillian Whyte. And there's a lot of pride in South London. And a British heavyweight title on the line. Such a prestigious belt. Whyte's second challenge. Lewison has been waiting for this. Had a good win out in the Far East, but it's a step up tonight.
If I was Whyte's corner, the game plan would be take this man past 3 or 4 rounds and then start working. And because what I'm seeing from Whyte here, I'm surprised that he's letting Lewison get so much success.
Yeah, let him get so close. You can make Lewison work by chasing you for 4 rounds. A lot of fighters, you do need to make them work to take them into the later rounds, but with Lewison you feel that Whyte could do it on the back foot and try and get away and make Lewison punch himself out by chasing rather than hitting the target.
Jab from Whyte, back to his boxing. Had that okay display against David Allen, who was using rounds, went longer than he had before, and it was a good exercise for him as he pops out that jab again. A nice speed and movement from Whyte, and this is how he wins the fight. But Lewison still carrying the threat, Johnny.
I think Lewison's problem is he gets bored as a fight goes on. And when he gets bored as a fight goes on, that's when he doesn't throw as many shots. If he doesn't get the success of a knockout earlier on. And so I think Dillian knows that because they've worked together in the gym. So he knows frustrating letting him get bored of throwing the shots, because the work he's doing is actually not that much. He's relaxed, hands are down, he's slipping the shots. So he's not throwing more than what? 15, 20 shots a minute. So he's not actually working that much, but I think he just drifts a little.
Clubbing shots from Lewison. Whyte will probably just want him to blow himself out and take over as the fight goes on. He tries a big left hook. There's a swap of jabs. And here comes Lewison applying the pressure. Is Whyte just too classy, though?
He is classy, and he looks in control.
Body shots as well. He's starting to break Lewison up a little bit at the end of the second round.
We've got to be careful of the clash of heads. Twice these boys have just missed clashing heads as they both took down, and when they throw those swinging shots, be careful, because that could create a massive cut for one of them.
Better round for Whyte. Corner as well. Ian Lewison with a big sweeping hooks, but the accuracy of Dillian Whyte takes him
round 3
and gives him the second round. He's 7 years younger, Whyte, in his 20th fight, and hoping to be crowned British heavyweight champion. But Ian Lewison still there, and he can punch. 8 knockouts in his 12 victories. The camp has said 5 weeks. It's decent time, not quite as long as they would have wanted, and he's been sparring with Derek Chisora. The question is, if he doesn't get rid of Whyte in the first 4 rounds, is it game over?
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus, and obviously he's trying to get close early on. He's trying to go Dillian Whyte into a fight, Lewison, and he's having a bit of success because Dillian's the type of fighter that is allowing Lewison to come close and stay in the pocket and try and mix it and trade with him and beat him at his own game.
Body shot again from Whyte. The body snatcher on Mark Tibbs's t-shirt. Is that the key to tonight? One underneath the right elbow as well. And all the work they've done in those few weeks up in Finchley with Ian Lewison may not be enough. It's the seasoning, isn't it? It's the activity, Paul.
It is, and he's been active, Dillian Whyte, and he's had a big shot in the arm to his career with getting up on the ladder, getting there almost, you know, having the big, massive occasion against Anthony Joshua, and he fell short that night. But
shook him, though.
He did, and he put up a great performance, and I said before the fight, Dillian's a tough man, you know, he'll take Anthony Joshua them rounds that a lot of people hadn't in the career, but since then he's had the shoulder fixed, he's had the operation, and he's becoming the fighter that he's been talking about, and he's showing that he's a capable heavyweight fighter.
He's now based himself up in Loughborough University there to do his strength and conditioning. He's taking this very serious, where he now goes to camp. I've seen him training down in London at times, and this guy is serious about what he's doing. He wants the rematch with Anthony Joshua, no matter what he says or does.
He wants a fight with Derek Chisora first, which could be made. Chisora, who has been helping Ian Lewison prepare for this, and will be watching closely, believing in his stablemate, but knowing that if he doesn't win, he wants to try and take out Dillian Whyte next. Job to be done here first for Whyte. Blood to the nose of Lewison, just a little, as he tries to get his jab going. And remember those skills that he had as an amateur, and it's a little bit about that as he takes another body shot. It's a bit of a memory game for Lewison, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, and the counters that he's trying, he's falling short with. You know, Whyte is also, he's throwing the shots, but he's getting out of range straight away when he throws them. Good reflexes and just good routine from drills in the gym and pad work in the gym. He's looking for nice counters, Dillian Whyte. He's boxing really nice.
Body shots and uppercuts, and just too fast for a slightly clumsy-looking Lewison as he tries to get a right round the back of the head, and Whyte just shots him at the end of the round. There's the needle.
Defending 1-2. Yeah.
John Charles, really good trainer, great figure on the scene too, was involved in a charity night last week that Johnny and I were at. He's trains fighters of all levels. Derek Chisora in the camp, and this man Ian Lewison in the black. Not a tartan kilt, but it's a good effort, I suppose. And Dillian Whyte in the velvet green and gold.
Adam, I'm looking at Dillian, and I think what makes him could also breaks him. He's a very emotional character when he fights, but that could also be his downfall. He gets too emotionally involved in fights, trying to pump his opponent up. He needs to try and stay a little cool when it comes to fight time. Do all that hype before the fight to get into a fighter's head, but he needs to try and stay cool.
Good jab from Lewison there, Johnny, as he just tries to break through Dillian Whyte. He's still got that power. We're still within 4 rounds, and Whyte gets a body shot in, and a nod of approval from Lewison. Just didn't see that coming.
But if you look, as the rounds have gone on, Whyte's work has got a little cleaner. He's picking more shots off. He's just slipping at Lewison's shots as they come in. So now we start to step it up. This is part of the game plan.
Yeah, he's warmed into the fight nice, and while we were off here, you could hear in the corner from Mark Tibbs, you're going to have fun with that jab later on as this fight goes on later. You're going to have fun with the jab. I think the consensus from the Whyte corner is that Lewison will tire, and then Whyte will start landing good, clean shots like this. He's slipping and feinting and countering really nice, Dillian Whyte.
He's got the experience over the rounds as well. He's done 67 ahead of this Lewison 43, but it's just the regularity, and the left hook then just gets home, and it's just a sorry feel about Ian Lewison after that when he dropped his hands.
Nothing's changed with Lewison. What he's doing now is what he was doing in the first round. What Dillian's doing is he's now time countering the shots. He's letting Lewison let the shots go, leaning back just out of range by a centimetre, and then coming back again, or trying to slip in with an uppercut or a hook. And that's when he needs to start stepping up. Lewison needs to somehow squeeze him down, get him in the corner, land some solid shots.
Trying to get hold of the centre of the ring, Lewison, pumping his own jab and body shots out. That's better. Really has to take the fight to Whyte, doesn't he? Shake him up. He knows that Whyte can be hurt, as he was against Anthony Joshua. There's the body shot from Lewison.
Whyte has always got to be careful for the counters. Lewison's a big puncher. he hasn't got much chance of outboxing Whyte in this fight, so he's going to try whatever he can do to try and win the fight, to try and land a big shot, like hitting him low, like roughing him up, like hitting on the break, and like trying a big counter when Whyte is getting a bit ambitious with the left hook to the body.
He's had a bit more success, Lewison, hasn't he, here?
Yeah, once he's got Whyte to the back of to the ropes and he can land something, he'll get more confident, he'll feel more that he's more in the fight, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to get dirty, he needs to get rough with him.
That's a fascinating one, isn't it? For the British heavyweight title vacant, of course, because Anthony Joshua went on to world honours.
Yeah, I did. I think this man, Whyte's still chomping at the bit for that rematch. We don't know if it'll happen or not, but he's making as much noise as possible to get through the domestic scene however he can. But so far, so good. But he just needs to be careful not to make a mistake against Lewison.
So far, so good for Dillian Whyte. How are you seeing things, Paul?
He's boxing well, and he's warming into the fight as the rounds go on and progress. He's getting a little bit fitter, but you know, we wonder how many rounds Lewison has in him fitness-wise, and we're saying, you know, he hasn't had the longest of camps. He's thrown a lot of power into the big shots early on in the round, so him and his corner will have planned to do the most damage.
The flourishing heavyweight division, of course. We wait and see what happens with Tyson Fury in the coming weeks and months. Meanwhile, will Anthony Joshua fight Vladimir Klitschko in an absolute firecracker? If it happens, David Hayes lurking around. Deontay Wilder will be fit again soon. There's Luis Ortiz. Joseph Parker winning the other day. David Price coming back. I tell you what, time to be a heavyweight. Johnny, you missed out.
You know what?
Or maybe you didn't.
The trouble Tyson Fury's cause beating Vladimir, it's opening it all up, and it's giving everybody a massive chance of getting into the mix.
Big left hook there from Dillian Whyte after an onslaught from Lewison. The classier shot from Whyte. Is that the difference, Paul?
The class level, I think you can see. I think Lewison back in his day, you know, will have had a lot of class as well. He was a good amateur. I remember him coming through and everything else. But the class tonight is obviously with Dillian Whyte, and he's the fighter on the up. He's the fighter who's active. He's the winning fighter and the busier fighter, and it's shown tonight. He's the fitter and sharper fighter as well. The thing with Lewison is he has to land a big shot to take this fight from Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte can continue turning the screw and do the damage the way he's doing. He's systematically and progressively breaking down Lewison.
Is that power that Lewison's got less dangerous as the rounds go on, Johnny, or more?
Not at all. He will not lose that power, and that's why
it's still there all the way through.
I'm worried as this fight goes on, because it's a heavyweight scene, and all it takes is one mistake,
even if he tires.
Even if he tires, because the last thing that will go is that punch power. And if he tires and he puts that tired weight behind the shot, it's going to be twice. The impact's going to be twice as heavy. So that's why Whyte cannot afford to make any mistakes. Get complacent. Get him on a jab, make him use his feet, stretch him out. Don't stand there, because it makes it too even for him.
That's what Whyte tried to do there with the jabs to head and to body. Just a gulp of air there from Lewison, and a chopping right hand from Dillian Whyte, who's measuring his jab. He's trying to shake it off Lewison as though he's not bothered. He's just a strange fighter, isn't he? And this stop-start career in activity.
Big chance tonight. It's a local derby, even though they're about 300 odd miles away from home. Saying that's where Dillian Whyte needs to be careful. You don't need to be in that position, trading big shots with Ian Lewison like this when you're in control of the fight.
The problem is, you look at Lewison's record, and to me it tells me he doesn't want it enough. To me, it tells me that he doesn't love it enough, because he's had too many gaps. When he talks about being overweight and not being prepared for a fight, how can you be in that state as a professional fighter? Because this kid can fight, he can dig, but because of his own undoing, that's why he's not as more successful than what he is.
Big smile from Dillian Whyte. Seems to be enjoying things in there with Mark Timms. And of course, ahead we have the big one. This is Kirill Relik. He's undefeated in 21. He's a big puncher, 19 knockouts, and he has a real step up to try and wrench the WBA 10-stone belt away from Ricky Burns, who won it in this very ring a few months ago. How will he cope with the occasion, with the Scottish crowd? Will he come out wearing a kilt to try and garnish a bit of favour, because it will be Ricky Burns, Flower of Scotland, and all sorts in about an hour's time.
Seconds out, round 6.
Paul, have you noticed that tall stool that Dylan's got in the corner? What is that about?
I think it must be a choice by Derek, because over the last few fights I've seen him, he has the big tall stool, but it's so hard for the second to get out the ring. It's taking a lot of time at the end of every round to get it out.
Well, he's still there, Ian Lewison. Some people thought it would be 4 rounds and out, but we're into the 6th. He's only been 6 once against Jason Callum, as Johnny was saying, in his professional debut. So you've got to think that the longer it goes on, the more it will favour Dillian Whyte. But you never know with the heavyweights. One punch can change history.
It's what we love about it, and heavyweight boxing is the glamour division in boxing. It always will be for that reason. And fellas this big, especially nowadays, especially our generation, fight is so big and so strong. You know, it takes one shot, and it takes one shot to turn things around.
Body shots from Lewison. You've got it close, Johnny, haven't you?
Yeah. It's the anticipation of that big shot landing by any one of these fights can do it. And at times, I think Whyte has just let rounds slip, or a couple of rounds slip away from him, because he's too busy getting involved when he shouldn't be.
You've got Whyte in a handy lead.
Yeah, for me, he's been in control, even though he's took a few silly shots, and he always looks like he's in control and trying to land up big counters like that, which he just did. But you know, Lewison is having a go. He's trying, but he's just not doing enough for me.
He's a puncher too, Whyte, 14 knockouts, and he's starting just to plant his feet more and wield in the hooks to head and body to push Lewison back. Maybe he believes now that we've seen the best of Ian Lewison, and it's time to really start applying the heat on the big man from Brixton.
I think Lewison had a little moan about the body shot, saying it was low there. You couldn't really see it from our angle, but he backed up to the ropes after it and didn't really throw much after that. Same angle.
Looking for the uppercut, and Lewison gets a cheeky one in back. And they are wielding hooks, and there's a lot of kidology. A mental game as well as a physical one. Look at the uppercuts that Dillian Whyte is digging in. Get off the ropes, they're screaming in that corner.
This is the local derby, the pride thing between two men from the same area. You know, Dillian Whyte doesn't have to be on them ropes. He doesn't need to be taking any unnecessary punishment from Ian Lewison, but he's choosing to be there. He wants Lewison to open up. He wants to try and beat him at his own game.
They're saying they won't be able to show their face in the Brixton barbershops next week, the loser. Johnny will be down there, won't you?
They're not easy down Brixton. They'll make life hard for them. The referee just missed a big swinging left hook from Whyte.
Those guys.
So, some guys, they sit down for that rest. Some guys don't want to sit down because they think, I want the blood rushing around my body. I want to feel relaxed. I want to walk back out again. To me, I needed that rest.
I always find this strange. I stand up between rounds in the gym when I physically can. And then in fights, I always sit down. I've never stood up in a fight. I've never ever done it.
Here's the second half. British Heavyweight Championship boxing. The Lonsdale belt on the line. And both of these guys want it bad for different reasons. Ian Lewison believes that he's never really been taken seriously. He doesn't want to let all that quality he had as an amateur go out of the window. He wants this shot to pay off, and he's got to dig deep. Dillian Whyte digging in the shots again, though, because he wants to move onwards and upwards.
A couple of nice, class, clean shots from Whyte, straight through the guard of Lewison, and that's what he could be doing. 2 minutes of a round, 1.5 minutes a round, and that'll clear him for the round to win the round.
Showing a good chin, Lewison.
He is. They both got good chins. Both. You know, Dillian Whyte's known for having a good chin as well, and Lewison's took some good, clean flush shots and he's took a lot of good body shots as well, and he's showing his toughness tonight. I think, again, back to the point of the fight for me, Lewison only really has one way of winning this fight, and it's by knocking Whyte out. It's by landing on his chin. Whyte can win by doing what he's doing now, grinding him down, trying to make him quit late on, trying to catch him with a clean shot as well, or outboxing him for the full 12 rounds. And he's constantly giving Lewison the opportunity to stay in the pocket and land the shots, which is, if you're a Whyte fan, it's pretty worrying.
But head and body shots good there from Dillian Whyte, catching the eye of the judges. Howard Foster just in front of us, Marcus McDonald and Dave Paris. Persistence from Lewison, but still walking into some of these shots, and he just dabs away at the eye. He's annoyed about something there. Will he have to start really sucking it up? That eye's closing a bit, the right eye of Lewison. Keep your attention on that as well. Body shots from Whyte.
Whyte senses it as well. He senses a bit of distress from Lewison. He's just picked it up a little bit more.
Just feel when he steps up again, Dillian Whyte, and Lewison just leans back on the ropes. Is that kidology? Is he playing possum, or is he really starting to feel the pace? Long as he's been as a professional. Championship rounds coming up. Is he going to be able to hang in there?
Now this will be about Lewison's character. Now remember, you're looking at his record. It's been stop-start. There's been reasons, weight-wise or whatever way Whyte's career's not taken off. If he wants it, he will dig deep and stick this out. If he really wants it.
It looks like he's feeling the pace to me now, and he's feeling the effect of the shots that Whyte's been landing. It's been 2s, 3s, 4s from Whyte. It's only really big singles from Lewison.
No knockdown there. Just relaxed, Dillian Whyte, and Lewison just trudging back to his corner.
Yeah, come on, stay focused. Wait, come on, listen. You're doing a good job in there, Dillian.
Again, long-range stuff from Whyte, just picking the shots really nice. That was the early combination that Johnny mentioned at the time. There was some good, clean, crisp shots getting through from Dillian Whyte.
But he could do a lot more than this. He'll do this a lot more in the round, but he's happy to try and to drag the energy out of Lewison and let him get some shots off. He doesn't need to do that. He's making the job harder for himself, even though he's edging the rounds.
The first 4 for me were relatively close rounds and nip and tuck either way, but the last few have been clear rounds to score and easy to score. And it's the cleaner and the more effective work from Dillian Whyte.
John's really trying to motivate his man here, Lewison, who needs the ropes to lean on to get himself up. There's a tired feel as we enter the 8th round. British heavyweight title fight. Let's see how the boys have got things. Paul has got Dillian Whyte 5 up, similar to my card. And Johnny has got it closer by 2 to Dillian Whyte. 3 judges at ringside. All that matters, will it go to the scorecards, or will Dillian Whyte or Ian Lewison find something dramatic? You just get the feeling, guys, don't you, that Whyte looks at ease here.
That's the thing. From the first bell, I didn't give Whyte the first round. I thought he lost the round because Lewison did more work and landed a few more shots, but he still looked comfortable, if you understand what I mean. He looks in control, and it's his fight, but he's allowing Lewison to come in and work, and in some rounds he's let him work too much, and he's let him land a few too many shots that he probably liked.
The psychology of the game is he could easily sicken Lewison out of this by just not giving him anything to feed off, pop him with shots, move out of the way, hit him with hard shots, let him miss, sicken him, making him start to doubt himself. Then this guy probably ends up not getting off his stool the next round.
He's allowing Lewison to come in to make mistakes, to look for good counters and take him to the body like that. That was a bit low.
Yeah, one was low. One was a good body shot, but Lewison didn't complain. That shows his toughness as Whyte opens up again with a combination midway through the 8th round here in Glasgow as we wait for Ricky Burns, a 3-weight champion. He'll be up next.
You feel Whyte has more gears to go to as well.
Body shot again from Dillian Whyte, and it has got to be sapping the energy out of Ian Lewison, who's not been training regularly and fighting regularly year on year. He's got the talent, and he's trying to dig very deep.
You feel Whyte has more gears to go to as well.
Body shot again from Dillian Whyte, and it has got to be sapping the energy out of Ian Lewison, who's not been training regularly and fighting regularly year on year. He's got the talent, and he's trying to dig very deep here.
Whyte now has...
How are you seeing it and how are you scoring it?
I think it was an exciting fight. They're both taking some heavy shots. I think that Dillian is nicking it to me. I think that Ian threw a lot of heavy shots early. Dillian took it well, and Dillian find a fight smart. He's just touching Ian. He's got to be careful though, because Ian is still capable of landing big bombs. So it's a very interesting fight right now, because Dillian, I think, is a little bit more tired than he's making out, but he's fighting a fight smart. So it's a very good performance from Dillian.
If you've got him ahead on your card, do you think he could force a stoppage, or is Ian too durable?
No, I think that he is capable of forcing stoppage, because Dillian is picking him quite small shots. Ian's got to be careful that he don't. The referee might stop the fight if he's going too far behind. Because what recent events in boxing, we've got to look out for these kind of things. So Ian's got to start throwing shots back. It looks like he's still in the fight.
Well said, Derek, and great to see you.
It is great to see Derek Williams, lovely character, good fighter back in the day. Frank Bruno, Gary Mason, of course, Lennox Lewis, Henry Akinwande, many heavyweights back then, and then the David Hay era, and these guys, so much to look forward to. We'll surely catch up with Eddie Hearn at some point to find out the latest with Joshua and Klitschko. Will it, won't it happen? These guys don't care about that. They just care about getting their hands on the British title. Still a left hook from Lewison. Is he going to give it a real go here in the 9th round? Because it's surely slipping away from him, Paul.
It is slipping away from him, and you can see now, you know, I mentioned in the previous round, you'd think Dillian Whyte had another gear to go up as well. He looks comfortable, he looks in good shape, and he looks fit, and he's not feeling the pace of this fight too much. So I think he has got another gear to go. I don't think Lewison has, and I think, again, back to reiterate the point, Lewison only has one way of winning this fight, it's by knockout, but he still looks dangerous, especially with the counters. There you go, he's still got that power. Whyte's still got to be careful and be mindful of what's coming back.
Swapping body shots and hooks. It's been engaging action. Terry O'Connor hardly has had to get involved. It's been a slugfest at times between these two. And so far, neither has really hurt the other, which is probably what we didn't think would happen.
They're familiar with each other. They know they've assessed each other's power when they've sparred in the past, so they know what to expect. And it's about pride now. It's about that gym pride, because they're that familiar with each other.
But with these gloves, under these lights, with this title on the line, Johnny,
it does make a lot of difference. But character, it's down to character. It's down to king of the gym, you know. And I'm sure Lewison will want to prove a point to say, I'm not the kid you used to try and rough up in the gym, or the man you used to rough up in the gym.
Still trying to poke shots through Lewison. Whyte just standing up, not delivering as much in this round.
I think, again, you have to give a little pat on the back to Dillian Whyte here. He could make this fight boring tonight for the fans, for everyone else, and have a shutout win, just choosing to win on the jab alone. And he's constantly wanting to get involved, to be in that pocket, to throw big shots, to take big shots, block them, just to try and grind Lewison down, which he's doing so.
How many body shots has Ian Lewison taken? And he's still standing, still coming forward, still throwing the big hooks. Might not be getting as many scoring shots home in these rounds, but I'll tell you what, in terms of character and commitment, he's finally showing us, after all these years, that he's got that aplenty. And we say, why is it taken until you're 35? Look at this from Lewison. It's a charge here. Last few seconds of the ninth, and it's been a better round for Ian Lewison. Would you believe it? Bell comes in a little bit early, maybe. The fighters won't complain.
I don't mind you having that fight, but be a bit more swift on your feet.
Just feeling his arm there, his shoulder, Dillian Whyte. Is there a problem? We know he's had difficulties, operations.
Fast on feet, Dillian. Yeah.
Meanwhile, backstage, everything pretty calm as always with Ricky Burns. The boots go on. Either of you superstitious on what went on first? Boots, gloves, anything?
I was in the amateurs, and then you lose a fight and you think, well, it didn't work, did it? So it just goes out the window. You know, I remember I've seen a lot of people with a lot of superstitions, but once you lose, they're out the window.
Mine was I wanted to be the last one out of the dressing room, but everything had to be in a certain place for when I got back.
And the first one out with a skirt on. Ian Lewison with a kilt on tonight. As he comes into the 10th round, we didn't think it would go this far. Eddie Hearn was convinced it will be all over within 6, the big punches. But on we go, 9 minutes left. Who's going to be crowned British heavyweight champion? Len Harvey, Tommy Farr, Bruce Woodcock, Henry Cooper, Joe Bugner, Lennox Lewis, Herbie Hyde. So many great names over the years. Danny Williams too. We forgot him. What a win he had over Mike Tyson. Here comes Dillian Whyte with the uppercuts, but still Ian Lewison drives himself forward. He's marked up under both eyes. There's blood to the nose. But how valiant. And he's really in trouble now with that nose. It looks like it's broken.
His nose, that shot.
He doesn't want to know you don't turn your back on an opponent in a fight. Now his heart's broken.
He's experiencing something he's never experienced.
Yeah. It's painful when your nose goes.
And Dillian Whyte now with the jab. Has he got his man where he wants it? Backed up in his own corner. Don Charles telling him to get out. What's left in the tank? And again, not happy.
You can see the eyes starting to close. The nose is bothering him, obviously, but he's blowing his nose, which is what you're not supposed to do.
Right hand from Dillian Whyte. Terry O'Connor just having a little bit more of a look at Ian Lewison here, who's breathing heavier. And the uppercut missed there. This has been a hard, grueling championship fight for the British heavyweight title. And Dillian Whyte, who's been in control most of it, although it has been competitive, you feel now could be on the brink, on the verge.
I just think it seems that Dillian knows he's put the hurt on him, so now he's steadied himself up and he's looking for one clean shot, where actually if he threw 3 or 4 or 5 shots, that would probably get the stoppage.
Still, he bravely comes back, Lewison, and tries a body shot, but Whyte at ease. The jab, the relaxed calmness he's got about it, and a body shot whips in, and it's all getting a little bit too much now, a little bit heavy here for Ian Lewison. He's got to show something. Last 30 of the 10th.
All of a sudden now the little stinging jabs and shots, what wasn't doing much damage early on, and now starting to hurt because of the nose.
Dillian Whyte's brother beckoning him in, so too Mark Tibbs. Is this the moment? 15 to go in the 10th round. Lewison looks like he's got very little left now, and Terry O'Connor is having a close look here.
Don Charles has a towel in his hand also. He hasn't made any motions, but
the bell's going to come any moment. What's going to happen here? And he's going to stop it, I think. He's having a word with Terry O'Connor. He's had enough. And Dillian Whyte is British heavyweight champion. He doesn't know. He does now. The fight is over. And Whyte does become champion of Great Britain. And Ian Lewison's brave effort on 5 weeks' notice, and with all that inactivity, he stuck in there as long as he could. He was brave, he was spirited, but at the end he was outclassed really, and Dillian Whyte deserves credit.
He deserves credit because he made it a tough fight going through. He had to grind him down to get a stoppage win at that stage. It was perfect, and the shots that he was slinging there, it was a nose that made the difference, and that broke Lewison's heart, and Dillian knew that. That's why he steadied himself up, started trying to pick the shot and try and poke him. The uppercuts what were coming through, he was throwing him all the way through the fight. We would just miss it, but then he got the timing, and once he got the timing, it was off.
It was terrific, competitive action, a good heavyweight title fight. But is there something to be said here, Paul, that this is a sport that you've got to take very, very seriously all the time, and that if Ian Lewison's been, you know, having that stop-start inactivity, that it was going to catch up with him.
Yeah, it would, and if he's got other interests outside the boxing, he's not paying 100% to the boxing, you know, and only fighting once a year or so, or once even every couple of years, and it's not good enough to come back in and hit the ground running. You need to stay in the gym, stay active, and you need to be fighting regularly. It's good to see the both of them embracing in the ring here and having a good chat with each other as well. You know, it's a sport at the end of the day, and that's always nice to see. Absolutely,
all the talk beforehand. But you know what? They can go to the barber shop in Brixton together, and they can go and share a drink as well. Ian Lewison is gutted. He's absolutely devastated. It was a big opportunity, and he tried his heart out. And there's tears of emotion. But Dillian Whyte is British champion, and he could be thinking about Derek Chisora, David Price, maybe even that rematch with Anthony Joshua. Bright times ahead for Dillian Whyte, and he's the British heavyweight champion.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, just before we declare the result, our referee, Mr. Terry O'Connor, has asked you to join him. Your appreciation, please, for both boxers in the ring. At the end of round number 10, referee Mr. O'Connor accepts the retiral of Ian Lewison's corner. The winner, the new British heavyweight champion, Dillian.